Well, joining me live is UKIP's new leader, Henry Bolton. Good morning.
Good morning, Nigel. Good morning.
Good morning. Now, I think there's some different counts on this. Some say you're the fourth leader in the space of a year, and others think it could be with interims the fifth. I don't know. But tell me something. Why are you going to last longer than the previous three or four?
Well, Nigel, I'm going to say that I think I've got a bit of a track record for endurance. I've stuck the course with a lot of things where others have not. I mean, different environments, perhaps. I stayed the course in Northern Helmand when the US Marine Corps rotated their battle groups 5 times whilst I was there. I stayed there throughout. But I don't give up very easily. So this is not taking on the Taliban. It's a tough job, but I'm certainly here for as long as it takes.
And Henry, I mean, let's be frank. You're not a known public figure. I mean, tell us who you are in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I'm a former tank soldier, former TA infantry officer, commanded intelligence units in Bosnia. I've done ceasefire monitoring as Chief of Operations for International Ceasefires. I've advised heads of government on humanitarian crisis management, and I've helped some 14 governments at a strategic cross-governmental level secure their borders. So international diplomacy, security, policing, and military. So I'm 54 years old. I have a lovely wife who's Russian. So if the FBI want to accuse me of having links with Russia, yes, indeed, I have. And I have 3 daughters, a 32-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 1-year-old.
Why would anybody with that sort of resume want to get involved in leading UKIP? I mean, it is a very, very difficult job. It doesn't make you rich. I mean, what on earth motivated you? Because a lot of candidates stood. There were about 11 people who put their names forward to be UKIP leader, and none of us knew who was going to win. There was a favourite with the bookies, and we'll come to her perhaps in a moment. But what motivated you to want to do this?
Nigel, I have seen where we're going with Brexit, and Brexit is going to. Things don't end with us leaving the European Union. That is the first step on taking control of our own destiny as a nation in every respect, and I just see it going wrong. And I looked at the people, and some listeners may be aware that I was probably the last candidate to put my name forward. And I looked at the other candidates, and there's some excellent people there. But I thought if UKIP is not making itself an effective pro-Brexit opposition and is not engaging powerfully in this debate, then actually we are not contributing towards launching ourselves in the way that I described. Okay. And I don't see the government doing it. It's absolutely necessary. So I stepped into the breach because it is a job that has to be done, not just for the party, but for the nation.
Now, the question I'm going to ask you now, Henry, is a question I'm asking also to everybody out there on LBC listening or watching, and I want, after Henry's finished, you to respond to me on this. Has UKIP served its purpose, or does it have a future?
Oh, it's absolutely got a future, Nigel. A lot of people have said to me over the weekend, a lot of journalists, well, they've asked me exactly that question. And my answer is, in a sense, what I've just said. It is about launching how we deal with this launches the nation into its future. And that future continues, of course. And what I've been saying to people is it's not just about leaving the European Union. It's about having the ability to give people in our communities a voice. There are so many people out there who are ignored. They're effectively disenfranchised, whether it's local planning permissions that they express concerns over and nobody's listening, whether it's about healthcare, schools, policing. The people just simply aren't being heard anymore. And I think for me, launching the country into its future is about making the country an optimistic and confident nation, and you can't have an optimistic nation if its citizens are being ignored.
Now, one note, Henry, of confusion. One note of confusion on this is part of your speech was about the levels of immigration and what was happening to the culture of this country, and what you said appeared to be quite strong stuff, and yet you've also said in a Sky News interview that you didn't believe in immigration caps. So can you please just square that circle for me? Because I think people might be a little bit confused seeing those two things.
Yeah, no, I mean, we need to be clever about our immigration cap. An arbitrary figure is not helpful. What we need to understand is that we can only assimilate a certain number of people, and we need to look carefully at what that is. And 1 year may be different to the next, but what we must absolutely ensure is that our communities, our public services are not in any way overwhelmed by this, and that we're not creating a concern in the country that immigration is actually swamping our own culture.
But if we don't have a cap, who sets the limit for who can come in and who can't?
No, sorry, Nigel. It's not that I'm not saying that we shouldn't have a cap. What I'm saying is that just throwing an arbitrary figure out there of 50,000, 10,000, 0 is difficult. I mean, if you say 0, then of course the 0 figure is influenced by the number of people leaving as well.
Of course it is. Of course it is. But I mean, but if I'm a voter, Yeah. I'm saying, well, Henry, if you go into coalition government, what number are you going to be fighting for? I mean, where do you see the British population going?
No, the British I've already said, I think publicly prior to this weekend, that actually I want to see the immigration actually halted until we can understand exactly how we're going to manage it going forward. So at this stage, that's what I'd like to see.
Right. So you halt it. Fine. Yeah. Okay. Understood. That's a bit clearer.
That's the net
for all of us. Okay. That's Henry Bolton, thank you very much indeed. Well, that was Henry Bolton, folks, and it is a question. It is a question because at the general election just gone, I don't think UKIP was seen to be very relevant by people, but suddenly the Labour Party have completely U-turned on their commitments. I mean, completely. No longer are they talking about controlling borders. No longer are they saying we should leave the single market. And the Tories, well, at best, are kicking the Brexit issue into the long grass, and all the while, open door immigration continues. Is there now space for UKIP on the political battlefield, or is it a spent force and past its time? Please let me know what you think.
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.